Nothing is more important outside of your profile than your compliance packet that we send to the hospital before you start. On this episode, we talk about that and why it's so important to us here at Atlas. Atlas All Access starts now. There we go.
Nailed it.
Steve Seitner, welcome back.
Dude, always happy to be here.
All right. So you've had this relationship as long as I have, right, with HealthTrust and how important that is to us as an agency.
Yeah.
I had the opportunity. Normally it's me and you. Like a year ago, we did this very thing after we came back from Florida, after they had their vendor summit, and we talked about that. This time I brought some hardware back with us, and we'll talk about that a little bit. You were not with me this year, so
I missed it.
I'll catch you up on kind of what happened while we were there and why that's important to us. But if you could for a second, though, talk about how important that relationship is to Atlas.
Yeah, I mean, it's not too difficult to kind of look at the advantages. They're one of the very first agencies out there that decided to put a priority, or I guess one of the vendors out there to put a priority under a smaller group of quality agencies and more of like a sniper approach as opposed to like the shotgun approach where, you know, maybe they're working with 2, 3, 4, 5, 600 agencies out there, right?
Yep.
Potentially creating a lot of overlap. And we try and look at that as kind of our own internal MSP. We are an organization that doesn't have the exclusive relationship with any hospital out there. You know, in a lot of cases, while we still have some direct relationships, for us, we do kind of look at what HealthTrust brings to us as our internal MSP. Why is that they do run it a little different. Once the needs end up with our team, it means that their team is no longer working or competing against us. So it does feel like a very true, you know, marketplace, competitive marketplace where quality stands out.
Talk about that for a second, because that's important, because that isn't typical, right?
No. I was going to say, in a lot of cases, there's a lag time between when a job shows up at the host vendor or the MSP and the time we get it. And while HealthTrust does still own that, once they've made the decision in-house to pass it off to their top 15 or their top 20 agencies, at that point, they've removed the potential for an internal conflict. At that point, we are no longer recruiting against their internal team for the pool of needs that have been handed down to us.
Yep.
You know, what that does is it gives our internal team the confidence that the incumbent isn't going to show up with some sort of a reason as to why the candidate we fought to submit happen to end up taking the job with them.
Right.
So you get a little bit more buy-in, quite a bit more buy-in when it comes to trying to sell those jobs out to our internal pool of recruiters, because there's just that extra added piece of conflict that has been taken care of and put off to the side.
And you've been a part of a number of these over the years. They do a quarterly scorecard with us.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to say they're the only ones that have been doing it, but they've done it in a fashion that almost kind of gamifies it a little bit. They make it really fun.
Right.
While there is a coveted group or a top 20, you always know what our position is, or we always know what our position is across several different categories, but they also kind of quantify it by showing you where on the scorecard you are and what all the other competitors are doing. So while we don't get to see what some of our friendly competition is by position, by name,
right,
we can kind of at least guess.
They gray them out. Yeah, they gray them out.
They completely
for us.
gray them out. So when we review our scorecard, we do only see Atlas's name, right?
Yeah.
But you can kind of get a sense of if you've made up ground, if you've lost ground, if you've fallen off somewhere, if there's some kind of newcomer that's making a real splash and growing. You know, their consistency about the way they go about reviewing the scorecards and the data they provide us. I mean, everybody's competitive if you're in this. You know, you've got a heart for you know, the patient. You've got a passion for positive impact. But at the end of the day, there's definitely a competitive piece that drives everybody in sales.
Yeah.
And it is impossible to deny when they put the amount of information in front of you and flat out score you and grade you and tell you you're in X place.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to do better.
Everybody wants to do better. That's absolutely true. And so that brings me to the hardware we brought back this year, which I'll tell you, I didn't expect anything out of this whatsoever. We go every year. It's a summit of the top 19 of there. Is that right? Is it 19?
19 sounds right.
Top vendors. They had top 20 one of them dropped off. They didn't replace that agency or whatever. So every year we go with our peers down to Florida, and we get on this super nice boat, and they give out some awards for the year. And this year, I am super excited to announce we won the Operational Excellence Award.
Yeah.
And that's purely compliance, right? How well does your compliance packet look when it's sent to the hospital? In particular here for HealthTrust. Some of you may have known, you may hear the name Jackie Ryder. She has run that relationship with us for a number of years. And she was sitting right to my right. And then Taylor Christensen was right to her right. And we were sitting at a table with a bunch of other a very large agency, which is kind of odd. They placed us with them. And when they announced our name, I hit Jackie's shoulder so hard. Like, I was so excited. I, like, open-handed. And then I really felt bad about it later. But
really grateful HR wasn't on the trip.
Right, yeah. So, and she was just like, this was awesome. Like, no, I didn't mind that one bit. So I was super excited for that because we have for years hung our hat on the quality piece.
Yeah, and recognition like this, I mean, it's not hard to go out there with a simple Google search and figure out who's the biggest, who has the most volume,
right,
who's larger than us.
Right.
You know, and we try and find that nice little mix. And we understand, you know, while volume is always important, and there's no denying, I mean, if you just provide one traveler and you hit it out the park, you're still probably not the most important partner to them. Mm-hmm. So you got to find that happy balance. And luckily, we're able to garner enough interest from our travelers and enough of a relationship with HealthTrust that our submittals end up getting placed. But what keeps them coming back to us, and I think what has really secured us within their program, is that quality metric, you know? And that's what you can't go out there and just find in a simple Google search. So while some people point to awards like this as maybe not important, to us it couldn't be further from the truth. I mean, the fact that when we have a profile that it's been vetted, that, you know, our submittal to offer rate is amongst the highest, that our offer rate to acceptance rate is amongst the highest, the fact that our placement to on-time start is amongst the highest, that is what really testifies to what we say. You know, we don't shotgun approach it. We don't throw something against the wall and hope it sticks. Every one of the travelers we submit has confirmed yes to the location, yes to the pay package, and while it's impossible to be 100%, awards like this simply go to show that we're backing up the words that we say we do and the action we say we take every day.
This is as close to 100% as you could possibly get in a lot of their categories, and so I was super proud, and that's why. And Jackie actually came from compliance with us years ago, and so I know she takes a ton of pride in that too.
Yeah, nobody's happier. I mean, I think since the day Jackie's been hired, she has had an attachment to the HealthTrust brand, and I think she's going on 8+ years, almost 9. So we couldn't have done it without her. There's a lot of other names behind the scenes. I know you've mentioned a couple, but we have a tremendous compliance team dedicated to supporting our HealthTrust brand. Our back end, you know, accounting team that's dedicated to making sure that our travelers get paid, that we're billing appropriately, so that the dollars keep coming in the door, so that we can afford to continue to keep doing good business.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
So, you know, we're very happy all around and extremely grateful for the recognition HealthTrust gave us.
Yeah, and even though he said don't say my name out loud, I'm going to say it anyway, right? I want to thank like Brendan Courtney, Jim Davis, Jody Kirshner, Eddie,
100 of them.
Eddie, I love Eddie Parizek is probably one of the most interesting characters I've ever met in travel nursing over the 20 years that I've done this. And he is still just one of the most friendly, jovial guys. I look forward to talking to him every year.
And you can't forget Billy. I was going to say, I've been tied to Billy here for almost my entire 8-9 years now.
I was not going to forget Billy. Don't think for a second.
Not at all.
He's my beer buddy there.
But I had to beat you to saying his name.
Absolutely. Yeah. So and there's like we have an entire like group that works on that, right? They have a whole group too that goes unrecognized that I'm sure, you know, works very, very hard.
For sure.
So, which brings me to just my opinion. Now, this is just my opinion. It's been, July, help me out, July 19th?
Yes.
It'll be 20 years for me in the industry, but it's also 20 years that we've known each other. So what some of you might not know is Steve and I started on the same day at a different company 20 years ago. I happened to be like 5 minutes before Like, I got in 5 minutes before he did.
That's true, but I got my placement first.
That is true. That is true. You are a much better client manager than me. Let's be honest. So
I had a little head start.
You did. You started a year earlier with somebody else, and yeah, that's true. But like you've seen on here, like we travel together all the time. I don't have a closer friend, I think, in the industry than Steve Seitner, and some of the things that we've done here over the years, a lot of the things that we've done here over the years wouldn't be possible if it wasn't for this guy. So I wanted to take a second in my little piece that I have in each one of these and say thank you so much. Like, thank you for our friendship. Thank you for 20 years. Thank you for everything you've done at Atlas. You just hit your 8th year here at Atlas. Is that right?
No, I start my 10th year.
Is that 10?
Yeah. Well, 9 completed. We'll be in the 10th year this April.
In
so
April.
9th anniversary, April 20th.
Wow, geez. I mean, that's we've been through a lot together. So
no doubt about it. Weddings, birth of children,
yeah.
dozens and dozens
Yeah.
of work trips, a couple friend trips.
That's exactly right. Yeah.
Downturns in the industry, upticks in the industry.
Yep. And you've said it right. I'd be remiss if I didn't at least mention you've been through as many of these as I have, right?
Absolutely.
There's going to be better days.
For sure. This is a blip on the radar.
Yeah.
And the whole industry will be better for it on the backside.
Absolutely. All right.
Appreciate that.
My friend, thank you so much. I appreciate you being here. All right. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.